Hey, hi, and hello, my friends. My name is Kari, and if you're new around here, hello. Nice to finally meet you. And if you're not new around here, welcome back. Today, I am going to be giving you guys tips as an art noob. I hear people tell me all the time, "Oh my god, I love your work. I can never do something like that." If this is you, shut the fuck up. If this is you, this video is specifically for you. Okay. Here are some tips that I have learned over the years of doing art, teaching myself, allowing other people to teach me how to do art, and hopefully instill in you guys the knowledge that I have and pass along to you, and hopefully get you guys out of that mindset. I have always loved drawing and coloring and finding ways of being creative. But the main question is, how did I start? Where do you start? Tip number 1. You like how I tied that in there? Me too. Just start. Put paint to canvas. Put ink to paper. Put graphite, charcoal to whatever medium that you want to work on, and just get started. I remember starting off in elementary school and just printing off my favorite characters and tracing those characters as I see them. I vividly remember sitting in class and printing off Pikachu pictures and tracing over those and saying that it was my own. Listen, you have to start somewhere, but starting is the fundamental part and getting started. Numero 2, and here's where the video ties in. Use your references. I cannot stress this enough, my friends. Utilize your references and resources that you have available to you. Your brain is only capable of using a combination of experiences and ideas that you've already seen and experienced. So, using references gives you a whole nother perspective on things that you may not have thought about before. Whether that's using yourself as reference, such as holding that hand up in the air, looking at it, and simplifying those shapes and putting that to your work, or using Google or Pinterest. I personally use Pinterest in my work, and I have learned that using references and figuring out how it actually looks in comparative to what I think it looks like, and using that instead of what my brain can come up with, has drastically improved my work. Use your fucking references, my friends. Don't know how to draw a hand? God damn it, look up that hand and figure it out. Continue to learn and grow in art and even in other areas by using references you have available to you. Don't be scared. Use what you have available. Tip number 3. Don't stress yourself out about finding your art style just yet. I held myself back from doing art simply because I was so heavily fixated on finding my art style like the big boys and the big girls and the big days. But your art style will come with you over time. That could be within a few days or even a few years. I've had so many art styles over the years, and I know it will continue to change. So don't stress yourself out so much about finding your art style. I can make a whole separate video about this topic, and I'm pretty sure I will. But the main point that I'm trying to get at is, don't worry so much about your art style in the beginning. Allow yourself to get that time to start practicing and start getting into art more before you start worrying about your art style. Tip number 4. Experiment with different things. I have found that experimenting with different softwares, different colors, and especially in my case textures, has helped my art improve dramatically, and it has helped me develop my style a lot more. As you can see in this video as well, I experimented with kind of like a sketchy line art with the character on the right, and then I used a more bold line art for my character on the left. So utilize different techniques, such as experimenting with different color palettes that you may not use. I know a lot of young artists start off with using more pastel colors. Try and dig into more bold colors and incorporating more bold colors or even earthy tones in your art, and see what helps and what doesn't help. You'll figure out very quickly if something will work for you or if something just won't work for you. It's all about experimentation. Tip number 5, look at your art through different perspectives. I have a really bad habit of just looking at my work through a singular perspective, but getting into the habit of looking at it through different angles, different lenses, will reveal things that you may not have seen before. For my traditional artists, let's kind of lean more towards our traditional artists. Try looking at your work as you're processing it through a mirror. It will kind of give you like a mirrored reflected image, and you'll be able to see imperfections that you just may not have seen from that singular perspective. You can also take a picture of the work in different stages and flipping that image just to see those imperfections as well. For my digital artists, get into the habit of flipping your canvases. I know it might sound silly in the beginning and might seem useless, but as you're flipping your canvas, you're looking at things through different perspectives, so you're able to see if things are not as symmetrical as you'd like, or if something's a little bit off now that you've noticed from a different angle. See how these tips will help you. Tip number 6, don't let art block stress you out. Now listen, art block will inevitably come, but it's totally up to you as the creator if you will allow it to consume you or motivate you. Take some time away from the art project, the creative action, whatever it is you're doing. Take some time away from that to give your mind a rest and give your mind time to process what's going on and to also process new ideas. Now, if you're just completely in an art block in total and can't come up with creative ideas, 1, enter communities, enter art communities. Find a community with other artists and see what they're doing at the moment and see if they can give you inspiration. Or try the countless art challenges that there is out there. I guarantee you eventually you will come up with different ideas as time comes. So, moral of the story, art should be fun. So never let it stress you out so badly to the point where you don't want to create and you start dreading doing art. Tip number 7, don't let others' opinions influence you. Listen, I know this tip can be universal, all of these tips can, but this tip in particular is especially prominent within the art community from what I've seen and experienced. I myself have felt insecure about my work because some artists would say certain techniques that I heavily utilize and I at one point relied on were quote-unquote cheating. In specific, in my case, tools such as the lasso tool, copy and pasting, symmetry, the list can go on and on. Use the resources that you have available to you. Work smarter, not harder. If those artists don't use it, that's completely fine. But that shouldn't be a determining factor for you not to. I understand some artists want to get out of the habit of being so heavily reliant on these tools, and that's perfectly fine. But allow that to be your reasoning as to stop using those tools instead of what others think about it. If it's helpful for you, and it's helpful for you to use these tools, continue to use these tools despite what they're saying. Only change the techniques that you use if it's for your own benefit and for your own reasoning. I will continue to use the resources that I have available to me, and I will continue to use the lasso tool, and I will continue to use this imagery tool because it's efficient, for 1, it's there for that specific reason, for 2, and for 3, I can't get my eyes to be symmetrical for the life of me. Now, I understand what you're going to say. Yes, human faces aren't symmetrical, X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. I completely understand. But in my case, it is aesthetically pleasing if they're at least close to being symmetrical. So I have trouble in those areas, and these tools are helpful for me. So tip number 7, don't let others' opinions influence the way you work. Tip number 8, stop comparing your work to others. The reason you feel like you can't do art is because you continue to compare your own work to others. Instead, try and look at the things that you like about their pieces and work on those things in your own work. This is the perfect way on developing your own style, using a collect of your favorite artists' art style techniques into your own work and incorporating those things and further stylizing it into your own unique art style. this is literally how I came up with my own art style. I love Lavender Challenge artwork, and in specific, the original piece that I'm recreating is heavily inspired by Lavender Challenge art style, as you can see. And over time, I continue to exaggerate my favorite features, such as the lips, the nose, the eyes, the ears, adding more Afrocentric features as well, and just adding on to those things that I like into my own work and producing my own style. I definitely need to talk about art style in its own video because it is its own separate entity. But nonetheless, getting out of the mindset of negatively comparing your work and degrading your work because you deem others better than you is only going to be harmful for your art. So instead, utilizing the things that you like about their work in your own art and see how far that will get you. Tip number 9. Redraw your old art. Like I'm doing now, go back and redraw the old pieces that you have. Or if you're just starting, keep the old pieces. Keep your early pieces. And in the future, once you start to develop more progress, go back and redraw your old art. And this is the perfect way to visually represent and visually see an improvement over time. Go ahead and make changes to the new piece, such as I'm doing, with a different pose that you do now. Things that you would do differently. Go ahead and make those changes, and you'll be able to visually see your progress over time. Tip number 10, and the final tip. Stay organized. Now I know this is a little bit hypocritical because my tips aren't in a particular order, but nonetheless, making sure your space, your environment, your mindset is organized will definitely show improvement within your work. Getting into the habit of organizing your space completely changes your mindset while you work. Go ahead and play music if you're a music type of person. Get into an organized mindset by playing music in the background or playing a YouTube video. Play my videos in the background. Playing these things in the background will completely allow you to work more efficiently, and it will make your environment more calming and more workable for you. If you like to work in silence and that's your vibe, do so. Make sure that you're in a completely silent mind space and you're in the right mindset to produce works of art. And that doesn't always have to be happy. You can be in a good, productive mindset, but also be sad and also be upset, also be angry. I find that when I'm in my depressive episodes is when I produce the best works of art. And I know it doesn't sound healthy, but it's true. And that comes with being organized, whether that's your chaotic organization, because I am very chaotic organized, or if that's neat and tidy for you. Here are some honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. For start, do studies. For example, if you don't know how to draw animals, which I'm planning on doing an animal study really soon, because I suck at drawing animals, but do an animal study. You suck at anatomy? Do an anatomy study. Study what you find that you're difficult, that you have a difficult time doing, or you have a hard time doing, and do a study for that singular thing to improve. Work on same face syndrome. I personally had trouble drawing different characters because they would all look the same. Literally in my original piece, they look exactly the same. They just have different type of hair. Do different faces. Draw people of color. Draw different ethnicities. Draw different types of people within different cultures. And getting outside of your norm and breaking out of the things that you're comfortable with. And that will force you to improve. Redraw the same characters. I had a hard time drawing my OCs because they would never turn out the same way. and they will all look completely different. So get into the habit of practicing how to redraw um, original characters or redraw others' original characters. Get into the habit of repetitive drawing just so you can practice that skill as well. Find where you struggle and work on that thing. Similar to doing studies, if you suck at drawing hands, sit down and just draw hands for an hour or 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And do that on a consistent basis until you have that skill down pat. Practice makes perfect. Continue to practice and continue to break out of that norm. And if you feel like you're getting better, continue to get better and improve. Don't just stay at a consistent standstill because you feel as though you've reached a good point. Continue to grow and continue to learn. This is a really big one. Simplify your work and then add detail. If you notice in my sketch at the very beginning, which I believe is coming up soon, you'll see me sketching and starting off really small. That's because I have more time to focus on the major aspects of the composition and then focusing on adding those details and adding the larger details once I expand it. It's actually coming up right now. I start off with a simple square and I sketch within that very tiny square. Then I go into enlarging that and adding my detail, and that way you're focusing more on the overall composition instead of adding the detail. I see a lot of artists starting off with the major details, which that's fine, but once you start to get to struggle, you kind of want to take it back a notch and starting on the overall composition and then going back to adding that detail later on. I really do hope these tips were very helpful, and I do hope you implement them in your work that you plan on doing. If you would like another video similarly, I have so many other tips that I can share. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments, and I will definitely make another video. And hope to see an art style video soon. I plan on making one. And my new advice on finding your art style. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more tips, again, go ahead and leave a comment and a like and let me know, and I will definitely get on to doing that. I hope you guys enjoy this art flood. Gaming videos are coming soon, so my gamers, don't worry. I have gaming video coming soon. I have a couple of them that I'm planning to do, so don't worry, be patient with me. I hope you guys decide to return for the next one, and remember, my friends, remember to stay healthy, and I hope to see you all doing well in the next one.